living soul. The living soul really brings something into focus uh, as we are transitioning into the month of September. We are now switching soul archetypes, and we also are experiencing a shift in the energy position. So we're moving from the soul communicator, which was a masculine submissive energy, and we're now moving into the soul protector, which is a masculine neutral energy. And so I'm not going to take too much time. I'll just have different, I'll spend some different time talking about it. But the soul protector, just what the name represents, but this during this time, of course, it's taking position to kind of be it's more pronounced. It's more overseeing all the other different archetypes that are still at play, that are still moving in and out, still moving. This is just overseeing and is having its turn to have its influence as it works in pairs with different soul archetypes, as it matches our individual living souls, as it matches our living soul profiles. And so all of us will, we're channeling and moving and being impacted differently, and we're going to operate out of different archetypes or different energy positions in conjunction with the oversight of the soul protector. And so the soul protector, one of the main things is that it's going to have us face uncertainties. In facing the uncertainties, it's also encouraging us to embrace the uncertainty so that we can take risk. We're not going to be able to really move forward and do great exploits or whatever we're set out to do without some type of risk taking. Now, it encourages the protective nature of the soul protector is like take risk, but don't take risk recklessly. So there's also another prompting in the soul protector is to work along with taking risk, but also securitizing yourself, or at least understanding a risk, or to assess the risk um, from just one angle, one view. In other words, the soul protector is encouraged to take risks, but not to be impulsive. Okay, so it wants to, because one thing that the soul protector thrives off of is definition. It desires clarity and things to be defined. So it's not trying to take risks just blindsided. That's not how the soul that energy really works or really prompts us. And if it does, that's how we know we're kind of shifting more into the shadow side of the soul protector as it's influencing us that might find ourselves kind of operating from that space. The soul protector also is really going to revolve around intention. You know, hard work. Intentional work, intentional actions that is consistent, that doesn't waver. And so those of us that have that built into us really can really tap in and really channel. There's also a humanitarian type of um, focus on it too. So this month you might start to think more about the conditions of your home, like everybody involved in your home or your family. The conditions might be going on in your neighborhood or in your community or in the nation or globally. I mean, I ain't saying you got to be full hard pressed in that, but it just you might start, just feel these little, especially if somebody doesn't really focus on that, you might start finding yourself kind of just somewhat taking a peek and considering and seeing what's going on in world events, what's going on in the financial markets, kind of what's the trending social commentary that's kind of going on that people seem like kind of just gravitating towards too. So that's all the soul protector's influence. It's just to bring that sense of that, because behind it is it helps us remind us of our own personal mission, our own sense of duty. And so being very intentional and having a sense of mission is something that really is going to be very, very pronounced and very, very imminent. It's going to just be radiating, I should say, be radiating throughout this month. So if you're someone that really doesn't know their purpose, doesn't really have a sense of mission, you're not making decisions or being clear from a sense of duty, then you're probably going to feel very disturbed and kind of discombobulated at various different times throughout this month, because the simple fact of the presence and influence of the soul protector. Okay, those of us that really has a scenario of risk avoidance are probably really might begin to feel challenged within ourselves to kind of take risks. So it's kind of like we're peaking, then we step back, or whatever. So that taking risks is definitely something that has to be embraced, but it's educating us on how to take the risk if we really allow ourselves to receive the influence from the energy, because it's strong, it's overseeing, so we can channel the wisdom or the insight from the soul protector to begin to incorporate, some capabilities that we might not really tap into that much. And so it's like, oh well, look, you know what? Let me try to look at certain things as risks. Let me face my fears. That's another thing that the soul protector is going to do, is help us face our fears. That's probably going to be the main strong thing that you'll probably just have different moments that will just spark at different times. Is what are those fears? What are those things holding us back that we're just not just taking the risk and just plunging, going at it? So the soul protector is going to encourage that inside of us to really get more focus into a sense of accomplishment, to complete things, and to do it, right? And you're going to be able to do it without really seeking the approval of others in order to do it, or to get a sense of validation from others. Why? Because the energy position of the soul protector is a masculine neutral, which means it can go ahead and blaze its own trail. It means it can kind of move forward, it can initiate change, move forward and change, and not necessarily have to get occupied with trying to find people or environments to complement the actions in order for it to feel like it needs to act. So it's a very unique thing that it can, it's not, it's not partial. It gets that mission, it locks in, it focuses in, laser sharp, and moves forward. And that's what it really is. Like that's complete some things. So some of us feel like we're like, man, I gotta. Well, you're gonna feel this month like I need to bring some things to completion. Last month was like, look, I'm communicating things, I'm putting things, I'm implementing some things. So it's like, okay, wherever you're implementing, but there's some things you need to close. That's deliver it. Let's make it happen. That's completed. And so you're gonna feel that thrust, like a little extra boost of like, let me complete some things. Let me go hard in the paint without getting too sidetracked and too distracted. So that's that energy that's available. So hopefully this helps. And of course, I'll come back and really share some more things from the living soul as it applies to us, as it applies to the energy, as it applies to the energy positions, and maybe scenarios that's kind of going on that we might recognize and see, and bring some insights to see what the living soul is really helping us to understand.